online. I am really very happy and feel it as a privilege to be present today at the convocation of the University College of Medical Sciences in its Golden Jubilee year. At the outset, I wish to congratulate the students who have reached an important milestone in their education. Today's award is for their academic achievements. I was particularly very happy when I was presenting award. I could find that a lot of awardees are girls. The girls have outnumbered the boys. This is what is required for our country. The woman should not only get equal respect, but also get equal recognition. I am sure, given an opportunity, our girls, they will definitely excel. I can share with you, I have been going around the country for the last 4 years, attending many of the convocations, awards functions, everywhere, because the Vice President normally gives awards to particular category of people, and other awards are given by the Vice Chancellor. As in certain institutions, it will be 500, 1,000, like that. So those people who are the top rank holders, I found 65 to 70% are girls. That is really very, very happy moment I have seen. I would like to convey my appreciation to the teachers of this institute who nurtured the students to be proficient in their disciplines, the gurus, and imparted the necessary skills and competence in them to become professionals. More importantly, they have been equipped to cater to the healthcare needs of India. Today's convocation is special as it is being held in Golden Jubilee year of your institution. My compliments to the present and past administrations and the staff of this prestigious institution for pursuing excellence in medicine for the last 50 years. May you continue to excel in education and research in the coming decades too. Research is to make the people's life not only comfortable, but also happy. Happiness is very much required. The COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted the importance of a robust, accessible, and affordable healthcare system. Accessible, affordable healthcare system. The formidable fight India has put up against the pandemic is a testimony to the resilience of our people in general and the selfless service rendered by all the doctors, scientists, healthcare personnel, and other frontline workers, technicians and others in particular. Our scientists and vaccine manufacturers need special appreciation for rising to the occasion and ensuring the availability of vaccine to millions of Indians. I compliment the scientists, the doctors, and also the medical personnel who are all involved in this noble task of fighting the pandemic. That's why you could see the result, in spite of being a huge population, 130 crores, and also people belonging to different economic strata, urban and rural, mostly rural also, more than 50%. India's performance, and compared with so-called developed nations, is better than any of the other countries. This is very clear, and now it has been really noted by the entire world community. Making vaccine available is really praiseworthy. That's why I especially compliment those scientists. But I also would like to compliment the ICMR and its Director General for the service they have rendered along with the scientists in conducting the research, the tests, and also making it available to the people, not only making it available are also guiding the people from time to time what needs to be done, what not to be done. That is very important. And for the guidance that has been given by ICMR, there is wide appreciation in the entire country. My dear sisters and brothers, we should not only think in terms of make in India, made in India, we should make in India for the rest of the world, for the humanity. That should be our motto in the coming days. Make in India for the world. Because India, as a civilization, Bharat, we believe in Vasudaika Kutumbakam. Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu. That is our motto. Share and care is the core of Indian philosophy. Keeping that in mind, we should move in that direction. I am also happy to note that various health indices have improved considerably in the country since independence. Successive governments, they have done their best. Life expectancy at birth has increased. Infant and maternal mortality have greatly reduced. Diseases such as smallpox and polio have been eradicated mostly, while leprosy is close to be eliminated. As per the latest available data, MMR has been in a steep decline in the recent past, falling from 130 per 1 lakh births in 2014 and 16 to 130 to 113 in 2016 and 18. The Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Bhai Modi, calling to make India TB free by 2025, 5 years ahead of the global target of 2030. We have been making steady progress in reducing the incidence of the disease. There have been a significant increase in the coverage of immunization through the Universal Immunization Program. While these are laudable achievements, we still have many challenges that require a coordinated and concerted approach by both the government and the private sector. Working as a team India, central government, state government, and the other local bodies, they need to work together. Now, equally important is private sector joining. These challenges pertain to trained healthcare workers and the prevention of non-communicable diseases. There is also a problem of high out-of-pocket expenditure, which adversely affects the low-income households that face the risk of being pushed to poverty. It would be pertinent here to point out that the government's flagship programs, Ayushman Bharat, has brought health assurance to many poor families for secondary and tertiary care hospitalization. With a cover of up to 5 lakhs per family per year, it has covered more than 2 crore hospitalizations since the launch of the scheme. My dear sisters and brothers, budding doctors, the goal of universal and assured health care for all is difficult. But with determined effort, we can achieve it. I am sure we will achieve it. The first step to achieve the goal of health for all is to increase public spending on health. The 15th Finance Commission has recommended that states should increase spending on health to more than 8% of their respective budgets by 2022. And the public health expenditure of the center and states together should be increased in a progressive manner to reach 2.5% of GDP by 2025. As mentioned earlier, the shortage of trained human resources in healthcare needs to be addressed on a war footing. India has a low doctor population ratio also, at 1:1,511, as against the WHO norm of 1:1,000. While there are more than 540 medical colleges in the country, we need to establish more of them, both in the government and private sector. The Prime Minister some time back has announced that there will be a medical college in every district. Yes, there should be a medical college and we move it to the extent of having a medical college in each and every revenue division headquarters. That should be the aim with which all the government, the center and states must function. At the same time, we need to ensure that the quality of medical education is not compromised. High standards are maintained. The Prime Minister, Narendra Bhai, has already declared the government intention of setting up of more colleges, also expanding the specialties. Unfortunately, there is capacity of paramedical staff, nursing professionals, midwives, medical technicians, among others. We have a nurse population of a ratio of 1:670, falling short of the WHO norm of 1:300. We need to correct this situation in a mission mode. In view of the shortage of manpower in the rural areas, I had suggested the need to make rural service mandatory before giving the first promotion to young government doctors. Before getting the first promotion, one should serve in the rural areas. Because even today, 60% or more than that are living in rural areas. We need to take care of them. By establishing more state-of-the-art hospitals, better incentives, and improving housing and infrastructure for the medical community, we need to attract more doctors to the rural areas. My dear sisters and brothers, and also youngsters, while focusing on the need to turn out more doctors, we must not forget the critical role of trained paramedical personnel in saving the lives. The importance of the service they render came to the fore during the pandemic as they worked tirelessly over the past year or more. Indian nurses and paramedical staff have earned a great reputation globally over the years with their skills, dedication, and caring nature. The need of the hour is to leverage these innate skills among the youth to train more allied healthcare workers and assign a larger role for them in our public health system. The 15th Finance Commission has recommended allocating more than 13,000 crores for the training of allied healthcare workers. This is expected to create an additional 15 lakh workforce. Universities such as yours need to offer more short-term diploma courses for paramedics. Friends, while seeking to improve the physical infrastructure and the manpower, we also need to innovate to provide optimum health care within the available infrastructure to one and all. For instance, e-health or digital health has come up in a big way in recent years. Using these services, people in rural and remote areas can consult and interact with a doctor in a virtual or a telephonic mode. This will also mitigate the problem of paucity of doctors in rural areas. E-health can also empower women and bring about much-needed awareness on maternal health and other issues. The Ministry of Health has brought out many e-health initiatives in recent years, such as National Health Portal, e-Hospital, Mera Hospital, and a variety of mobile applications such as May Cessation, My Diabetes, and May Kidkari. While these efforts are in the right direction, we need to further popularize and scale up our health initiatives. With increasing internet and smartphone penetration in our rural areas, e-health is the way forward for the optimum use of our human resources in healthcare. While India is going through a digital revolution, we must capitalize on it and bring about a revolution in the healthcare. On a similar note, the idea of digitized health records will save the hassle of paperwork for people and bring about a smooth and seamless experience during hospital visits. The Prime Minister is expected to launch the Pradhana Mantri Digital Health Mission in a few days. A unique digital health ID will be provided to the people, which will contain all the health records of the person. By ensuring the safety and the privacy of health data, this digitization will greatly help to monitor diseases and enable quicker decision making. A commendable initiative and should be rolled out in all states soon. Friends, the COVID-19 crisis is far from over. India is implementing the world's largest vaccination drive, and the aim is to complete the vaccination for all eligible people at the earliest. Civic groups must join hands with their local governments and encourage people to get vaccinated. This vaccination program should become a people's movement. इसको एक जनांदोलन रूप देने के लिए सब लोग प्रयास करना चाहिए. There is also a need to dispel fears and false beliefs. False beliefs. Unfortunately, some people have spread false beliefs initially. Now they have realized. That's why it is picking up now. And the media must take a lead role in allaying these fears and also creating awareness of the safety of our vaccines. It is also important to follow COVID protocols with utmost seriousness. We cannot be complacent and invite a third wave. Finally, I would like to compliment your institution for its contribution to medical education. This institution and the associated Guru Tej Bahadur Hospital have also been rendering a great service in the management of COVID-19 crisis over the past year. I am told that a newly set up ICMR recognized virology research and diagnostic laboratory has already performed almost 38,000 RT-PCR tests for COVID detection so far. I compliment the administration for these achievements and urge them to carry the same spirit of excellence in the coming years. Once again, my best wishes to the students, parents, teachers for their tireless efforts. My dear friends, I would like to see that there are more hospitals in the rural areas, and then medicines, medical advice becomes affordable, not only providing quality, but timely. For that, you need to move to rural areas. One. Number two, there is a talent among the Indian youth, both the girls and boys. Of course, girls is more that way, because they don't have any other avocation, they focus their attention. No tension, full attention. So keeping that in mind, we should really guide them, encourage them, educate them, and motivate them. This is what is required. This land, Bharat Bhumi, this water, this air has something special. See, the worldwide you are seeing multinational companies. Many of them are led by Indians. Though we are not supposed to be a very developed country that way. You see, even in America, developed country, there is more demand for Indian doctors. Even politicians who used to go to abroad earlier, they are now preferring Indian hospitals. Many of the Indian cities, they are becoming medical hubs. For the reason, because of the care, passion. Our doctors, our other staff, nursing staff, paramedical staff, they take care of the patients, the affection they show. Because medical profession, I always hold, medical profession, of course, political profession, education, all of them are supposed to be, they are professions, noble professions. They used to be carried in mission mode, without giving any remission or doing any omission or taking extra commission. You must have the passion for the sake of the nation. Then you will be able to move forward. The nation can become a strong and a stable nation. We must Indianize our education system. I was discussing with your Vice Chancellor and also the others that we must Indianize everything. I'm very happy the other day the Chief Justice of Supreme Court of India, he said there is a need to Indianize judicial system also. Yes, about the dress, about the attire, about addressing people. Why should we follow the colonial this thing? I can give you a small example in my house, Rajya Sabha. I am the chairman. The members used to raise and say, sir, I raise to and I beg to lay on the table. I said, why begging in free and independent India? So we have given up that begging word. Sir, I raise to present on the table. Ministers, members, they cannot do. And there is no need to call excellency. Honorable Chief Justice, Honorable Chairman, like that there are Sammananiya, Parama Sammananiya. These are beautiful words which are given by our ancient culture. Why should we follow this British model? Because the Britishers have ruined not only India economically, but they have also ruined our minds. Let me be frank about this. Though the foreigners have gone, that mindset is still remaining. It's because of partly we followed the Macaulay education system. Time that we assert and then Indianize everything and move out. So I told the Vice Chancellor, next time the convocation should be in a simple affair. Very simple. Simple. Indianize it. Make it very simple. Simple, noble. Simple living, high thinking, hard working. That should be the motto in which we should move in the coming days. I'm sure. Many of the universities have been going around, they have all changed their affair. Changing their systems also. This convocation is due, I'm aware of it, because Dr. Balram Bhargavaji has been persuading me to attend the convocation. We were hesitating because virtual cannot be actual, but virtual is factual. We could not help it. As we are slowly moving towards normalcy. Today I am happy that we are having an actual convocation where students, they feel proud to receive medals, receive degrees. And teachers, parents also would like to see their children receiving their degrees or awards. So I am happy to be present here in today's function. I wish you all the best to the young students. God bless you. Wish you a very happy, bright, meaningful future. Thank you very much. Namaskar. Jai Hind.
Simple living and high thinking. Thank you so much, sir, for those profound and thought-provoking words. I'm sure these words of wisdom will keep ringing in the minds of young doctors passing out in today's convocation ceremony.
I would now request Professor Balram Pani, Dean of Colleges, University of Delhi, to offer a word of thanks to the Honorable.
No force can stop the change whose time has come.